This is a conversational sales system we built for a very well-known digital education company. First, I'll go over the results that this system delivered. Then we'll go into the business side of things. I'll show you how the contract was structured and how I got this client. And after, we'll jump into the demo and I'll show you how the backend of the solution is built. If you want to use or resell same or similar sales system to your clients for multiple 5 figures and do not want to spend months trying to build it yourself and find a perfect offer, you can simply license and white label our one prompt, get all education and support you need to customize it to your use case and launch it within a week. Link in the description. Here is the dashboard. As you can see, this is the one prompt. I will blur most of the information out. I hope you understand. And this is a sub account that we opened for this client. This is a dashboard that was customly built on top of the HighLevel and is connected to all the opportunities that we are receiving. Again, when we will go into the backend, you'll see how everything works. But as you can see, for the past 7 days, and let's actually review this month, so 12 days, the system generated $134,000. This is the amount of money that was not received, so this is not the cash collected, but it was actually delivered into the pipeline. Now, this revenue is split between different pipeline stages. The most important stage is the booked value. So if you go here, you will see that this is the entire pipeline. So we have 5 stages. The first stage is the new lead. So when the new lead comes in, again, don't worry, a bit later I'll explain the actual map so that you can see how the leads go from one stage of the pipeline to another. So there is a new lead. Then the lead is getting contacted. And then on this stage, our lead qualification agent is trying to qualify the prospect and see if he is qualified or not by asking questions. If the prospect is not qualified, you can see that we remove the value of the opportunity because this is not the prospects that we want to interact with. And each new lead is getting assigned to a certain value, which is $300. Again, so all of these values were gotten from the actual company, from all of the data that they got. Now, if the prospect is qualified, so if our agent decides based on the pre-built parameters that this is the qualified prospect, it goes to the qualified stage. And now we assign him a different value, which is $3,100. So this is the average value of the prospect who is qualified. Qualified is not yet booked because usually on that stage, the prospects start asking questions before we actually book the call. That is why not all people that qualify book the call. And here you can see that the final stage is the call booked. And on the call booked, the opportunity value is set. For each opportunity is $6,215. This is an average order value for the people that come to this to the pipeline through a specific channel that we're working with. And again, so it's not average, it's average booking value. Anyways, so that was actually received from the past interaction pipeline history that the company was using before and still use for other channels. I'll explain a bit later. That is why on this dashboard, you can see the total value. This is everything that was basically received into the actual pipeline. We also have the value of the call booked. So these are the actual calls that will be already has been processed by the sales reps. They have a closing rate of about 35%. So you can count on how much revenue it will bring based on the true average order value that they actually provided during the booking. I'll explain a bit later. And there's a qualified value, right? So this is the value of the people that are qualified but not yet booked the conversation. So here we have just a simple graph that splits it through the different stages. Then we see how many leads are in the pipeline waiting to be contacted. So how many in progress? And in progress means that the agent is actually actively talking to them, trying to book a call or get them qualified. So in progress means it's before the qualification and before the booking. So we have know how many calls were booked on this specific time frame. Then we have how many qualified, how many not qualified. There is a stage percentages, and also preferred communication channel. The preferred communication channel is very important because the type of the leads that we receive can vary, not only based on their intent, but also based on the communication channel that they prefer to use. Everything starts when a prospect enters the pipeline. He can enter the pipeline through the Facebook ads, website form submit, or the inbound request. Right now, the results that I am showing to you are only based on the Facebook ads lead generation campaigns. Basically, in a nutshell, because I cannot show you the real campaigns because we signed the NDA, I want to illustrate how in a nutshell it works. Basically, you set up an ad, and in the destination you have an instant form. The form means that when someone clicks on your ad, they fill out the information, and this information is getting passed right away into your account. We are using one prompt, which is our own custom version of HighLevel with everything already built in. Within the HighLevel, you can connect your Facebook account, and once it is connected, once you create a form on Facebook, you can map the fields of this form to your fields inside HighLevel. So if you go to the account, if you go to this specific form, you can either duplicate it or create a new one. Then you'll see that you have the questions. Here you specify all the questions that you need to ask the user, and then all these questions will be displayed here. So when you click map the fields, what services you're interested in, and what is your preferred communication method which you're using, and mapping it to the field. What the company is currently doing, they are running a lot of the ads from 4 to 5 different ad accounts, and we're only connected to 3 right now. So we connected all of them to one HighLevel sub account and mapped all the custom form fields into the actual fields within the HighLevel. Now, it is not that hard because on the actual forms, they basically have 3 questions where the user provide what they are interested in regarding the ad that they have just saw. Then they explain the value that they expect to receive, which is very unusual for a type of the question that you can ask within the ads. That's why the ad cost is a bit higher, but they're aiming for a different type of the audience. And then the last question is the preferred communication method, which is very important because we are engaging with the prospects right after they submitted the form. We need to understand the best way to do that. Anyways, so this is one option. The second option is the website for submit, which is very similar. It has a bit more questions because obviously people are already warmed up because they went through the website and the form is not on the actual homepage. And then we have the inbound. The inbound that they are receiving come primarily from the WhatsApp, because this is the international business, then the email, iMessage, SMS, and the Instagram. They're not super active on Instagram. Usually they receive 1 or 2 DMs a day, but we are right now only focusing on the Facebook ads, and our goal was to show them the results as fast as possible. That is why the numbers that you see here represent only one channel, and this channel is not covered on 100% because we are again scaling it up and only working with a certain amount of ad accounts. Now, when people from the ads in our case right now come to the HighLevel, we are triggering the workflow. The workflow has 2 main stages. The first one is where we research and analyze the prospect. Because the company is offering training, leadership, and HR training services for a medium to large size corps, their business clients. Within the form, they provide their website URL or the personal LinkedIn. We are doing the research on this profile to give the agent more context. Once this research is done, we're engaging with the prospect using our conversational sales engine, which is built on NIDA. We're engaging with this prospect based on the channel that they included as the preferred channel during the form submit. So we dynamically identify the channel, and the process is very similar for all of them. Now let's talk about the business side of things. I'll explain how I got the client, how we structured the contract, and how much we actually charged. They found us through this YouTube channel and booked a call in the calendar. That was an unusual book because within, the booking questions that I ask all of my potential clients, they provided a lot of the details. Usually companies don't do that, but here they said that, again, I will blur most of the information so that you can see the sensitive info. I hope this finds you well, reaching out. So they're here explaining that they're looking for the sales automation and saying that they're providing a leadership development organization focusing on Christian values for the companies, which is very, very unusual because it's super specific sub niche within already a pretty niched business. They said that they enroll about 300 new students a month and generate around 2 million in revenue, which is good. Okay, it's a pretty good amount for the for the education business. Now, so here they are giving a range of the average order value that I was talking at the very beginning of this video. So I said that on the pipeline, when someone books the call, we're assigning the value of $6,100 something to the booked call. So if you count the actual closing rate, this will be in the range of their average order value. Now, it does depend because they have sub-departments, they have the training, they have the education, they have the courses, they have one-on-one masterminds and the events. So there's a lot of different things that they do. They have 12 full-time sales reps that are working to streamline operations. So here are the challenges. Again, so it's very unusual because no one really does it. What it told me, so what I understood from this booking is that they probably already talking with a few companies. And because we signed this client, I feel good about ourselves because I'm pretty confident in the sales, systems that we built, because they were talking with quite a few, different agencies. The reason they went with us was not the price, because here at the end, they say that we have a budget of $50,000 and we charge less than that. Okay, and I'll explain why. But what I'm saying is that because I have the case studies, we have this system already built in. That was the actual value prop. And we already had quite a few case studies in the educational space. So that was the deciding factor. But while I was reading that, I didn't know if they actually did talk with more companies or not. But because they're kind of providing too much information on the booking, I thought that this is probably the case. Anyways, so they are, the challenge is that they spend a lot of time manually qualifying the leads, leading to these inconsistencies, and so they're nurturing them for the Facebook ads. This is what I said, website, WhatsApp, and we the actual goal was to cut the team by half and make them focus on the actual, here they say organic marketing tactics, but in a nutshell, this is the content. Okay. So we actually already cut a few people, but this is not the entire cut of the team by half, because still very early to do that. Usually we always advise our customers to wait to a certain threshold to see how the system performs when they feel really comfortable. And most companies, if they have a good culture, they don't want to, simply fire people because they're like getting replaced with the AI. They, as they are saying here, they want to make them focus on the things that more important. That's why it takes time. Anyway, so here they're like kind of mentioning a few things that they were thinking and considering, and they're saying that the budget of the project was $50,000. So the contract that we send, again, so most all of the information will be blurred, but I want to show you very important. We usually do not do guarantees in terms of the performance, because when it comes to sales, we're not closing clients, right? So it's not like we cannot work on the performance, and we're not a marketing agency. That is why we are not doing the pay per money in type of the guarantee. But what we do is we provide the performance guarantee that we can really control. And I'll explain it here. But so here you'll see that we charged $2,000 for the pilot, and we did charge so we quoted $18,000 for the entire system, as well as $3,000 a month. Now, a lot of you guys might say that, Eugene, they said like 50, so what's up with that? Now, when we had multiple calls, because of the way they are envisioning the future of their company within the AI, especially in the education space, there are a lot of different projects that we're gonna work on, and that's why we prioritized the long-term vision. So the plan is to become the CAO that I was already explaining in this channel, which is the Chief Automation Officer, fractional CAO, that will be handling all of the AI integration and automation within the company. We actually do work with a few companies right now on that. So this is kind of the long-term vision, because we have a lot of different, products and agents within the sales system, within the one prompt that we can, simply deploy by customizing a few things. But the main point why I'm showing you this contract is of this performance guarantee. So let's put that, and I will unblur that. So as you can see, if you read that, we're saying that, okay, so, quick response. So the guarantee is that our AI will respond to all of the leads within 3 minutes. Now, yeah, technically it can respond within 3 seconds, but the 3 minutes to feel more, natural, to feel like a real human. And also, this is the new thing. This is the sauce for you guys that you can also use. We guarantee that less than 10% of users will realize that they're talking to the AI. And this is, by the way, the actual metric that we are tracking. And the understanding of talking with the AI is classified by the words by the phrases that people, send, like talk to human, let me talk to someone, stop the bot, I prefer talking to the person, and stuff like that. So here, because we're automating sales, we're automating nurturing, qualification, follow-ups, engagement, and education. Because we're doing that, we're not directly involved in the final sales and closes. But what we can do, we can develop the agents that are better than humans. And the only way to really measure it is to see how many people request talking, to someone real, so they identify that this is the bot. Of course, you can say, hey, Eugene, but you can also track, the conversion rate from the leads coming in to the actual bookings. But guys, now think about this. If you go here, most of the prospects are getting lost inside the qualification phase. What we did is we made a system that unqualify more people to increase the closing rate. So technically, less people book the calls, but more people, more sales reps close, because more of these prospects are qualified. So now you can start feeling that this is the metric that can be measured, but you really want to measure it on the 3 to 6 month timeframes because of the seasonality of the business. Leadership and HR is usually, of the training is usually done within, 3 seasons of the year on the, larger scale corps. That is why, like, it's harder, to put something like that in the proposal as the guarantee. That is why we're putting there what we can control. And here's the actual website. Again, I will blur this info out. So there's no real form here. They do have the app that we're planning to utilize, and that we're planning in future to integrate the actual live sales reps, but this is something in the next few months to a year. When they say apply now, they go to the actual application process, which is done by the Typeform. That's why I said that we decided to not yet focus on the actual form submission on the website nor the inbound request. We will perfect the ads first, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do with this, because they're using Typeform. Like, it can be easily integrated with anything, but the vision is to make it a bit more dynamic. So we're probably gonna be A/B tested. So some portion, because they're like marketing to the big five, the English speaking countries, we can really A/B test different landing pages with different types of the CTAs that lend to like different forms. Okay, so this is something that is coming in future. And now let me show you the actual setup that we've been using. But before that, let's see the demo. I have a simple form. Again, I'm not gonna, find the ads, and I'll probably leak some information out when I do that. That is why I built a very simple form on the HighLevel, right? It asks almost the same questions that the Facebook form does, but it asks very similar. So let's provide some information here. So the phone number is the phone number of my WhatsApp. So let's say that I would want this human rep to contact me through the WhatsApp. So I'll put my website and the channel, put the WhatsApp, consent, submit. So I removed all the wait timers. That's why we're gonna receive the messages very, very fast. It's just easier to process everything like that through the demo. So we're right now, what's happening, it is researching the website, as well as it's analyzing the information that we input into the form, and it sent us a message. Okay, so this is the message. It says, "Hey Jing, so that your form submit, my name is Julie, so you're looking for boost leadership interest." Now, so this is basically an engagement type of the message. It doesn't look like the AI. Again, it's the same. Like, it's very similar to what we're actually using. So we're like specifically, putting the lowercase message here. We were testing sending it into 2 messages, because this would be even more human. So we could send this, and this is the actual WhatsApp template, because you cannot engage with people through the WhatsApp. This is the problem with the WhatsApp. You cannot engage with the people on WhatsApp after 24-hour window. And by the way, yes, sure, let's chat here. This is good for me. You cannot message people outside of the 24-hour window. That's why you need to create the actual template and get it approved by the WhatsApp. And we have a little trick that we're using to put within this approved template the actual personalization. If you want me to create a 2-hour walkthrough video of the entire technical setup of this system, press the like button. You know the rules. If we get 300 likes on this video next week, I'm gonna do that. Again, I think it's pretty fair. So we're waiting for the response. It will start asking us some questions like what is the company? So how many people in the team specifically focus on the leadership and training? I don't have any cause we're more like a startup. Why are you asking? Do you need it? Okay, so now let's wait for the response and see what we're gonna get. Okay, so it says totally fair question, knowing your team size. Again, guys, like, now you feel what I'm saying. Like, you feel right now why we're giving the 10% guarantee. It does not feel like a bot, right? It's receiving multiple messages, it's sending multiple messages, it's giving the slangish words like honestly, thanks, totally fair, got it, and all these things. Getting back to understanding your needs. What's your biggest headache when it comes to developing your people? They just don't want to do shit. I am lost now. please help. Anyways, so I think you get the idea. What we're doing here, we are classifying all the responses, asking the questions, and everything is getting processed by this main engagement engine. This is a part of our master one prompt sales engine that we're using that is built on n8n and has, multiple different agents, customer support, lead nurturing, general agent, lead qualification, appointments, etc., whatever. So this is, looks very similar. And it has two main functions. The first one is the lead qualification. If you look closely, the first step that we're getting is the webhook. And I will go over, briefly on the high level how it's done, because the actual messages are getting received on the high level because the WhatsApp number is connected through the high level. So the high level receives the actual message here, right? Because okay, so we did engage based on the ads or based on the form submit. But then once we did the engagement, we went back to here. And here we were waiting. So here we were waiting for the WhatsApp message because the WhatsApp was actually sent here. So we're waiting for the WhatsApp message. Once the message is received, it is received on the high level side. Then from this high level, we're triggering multiple workflows that are connected to our n8n engine. So we're passing the user request, we're setting the different variables, and here is what we're doing. Basically we have a router. The very first thing that is happening is we're doing the prospect research through the firewall. So we're just scraping the basic homepage of the website that the user provided, and we already have the notes. Here we personalize the actual first line, and then we output this first line to the webhook back. Then we display this message, right? So this is the actual, so your form submitted, this was the generated by the AI. And hi Eugene, have a few questions. This is, static info. So we are replacing the variable here within our personalized message. And after the messages are getting sent, they no longer go here because we verify if the actual personalization message already exists. It does because we did engage with the prospect, and then we go here. So within this qualification flow, we have the agent that is, asking a few questions. And again, guys, if you want the entire walkthrough, 300 likes, and I will do that. But basically, we're doing a few things here. Very important. We have the extract information module where we are extracting if all of the 3 questions that we need are getting asked. When all of these questions are asked, so if not, we're going here and we are just responding to the user. But when the questions are asked, we are sending a webhook to the high level, to another work, right? That is assigning the person to remember our pipeline to the pipeline qualified stage and assigning him the actual, value. So this is pretty much it. You'll see that we're, I hear you. That sounds really frustrating. It doesn't sound like a bot. Okay, I think you got the idea. Now within here, you'll see that if we go to here and here, so we have multiple workflows built. So the first one is, we're receiving the actual opt-in and then we're sending the message. So the receive the opt-in is just pretty easy workflow where we are receiving the form submit. And in our case, you'll see that there is an alternative, which is the Facebook form. And the Facebook form is the main workflow trigger for this specific, system, because that was the main goal. But I added the workflow, which is, a simple trigger form, which is the Facebook alternative form that looks the same. So we're setting agent type to the engagement agent, and then we're also creating the opportunity. Now, because when the opportunity is created, it is created with a specific custom field that show the preferred way of the user to communicate, because we said that this is the WhatsApp. Here, what it did, it generated, so this is the main webhook, so we're generating the response within the n8n, and then we have the router, right? So it's if, so we say if the channel is WhatsApp, you go here. If the channel is SMS, you go here. Now from this webhook, we receive one personalized message, which is just message that is saved in custom field, and then we can display this custom field however we want. Within this WhatsApp, you will see that we choose the template. And this template, see, it says hi, contact first name, which is in our case Eugene. See, this is the variable. So this variable holds the personalized message that was generated, and this is also static. So this way, this template was approved, but it's still dynamic. Like this is still dynamic. And for the SMS, it's pretty straightforward. For the email, it's a bit different because like you can send an email from the HighLevel, but this is not the best way to do that because you're dealing with the thread IDs, and you do not want to, especially when you're responding to the email, you want to keep everything under one thread and not create a new email. That's why we're like using a separate workflows within the NNN that is, passing all the information. It's just sending it from there, as well as it's receiving the emails when the email is received and then triggering the workflows within the HighLevel. Now, that was a very brief overview of the system, the results, and the business side of things. Again, guys, if you want me to go in depth into the actual creation, show you the system step by step, 300 likes. If you want to license similar or the same literally agent in the system and resell it to your clients or use it within your own business, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching. Peace.